Welcome guys, welcome to my YouTube channel once again. Thank you for all your supports and stuff. So today we're doing the Spanish lessons and we're gonna be concentrating on the verb conjugations, okay? So typically in Spanish, there are about 3 different type of verbs, right? The first one usually ends with an AR. That's usually a regular verb, okay, the AR. And the other 2, this one ends in ER, the third one ends in IR. So 3 type of verbs in Spanish. And I would say 99.9% of the times the AR verbs are regular verbs, okay? And as you can see right here, those are the endings for the AR verbs. Normally they're gonna be the same most of the time. And then the ER and IR, those are the endings for them, okay? So we're gonna focus on those 3 verbs, conjugations, and then I'll give you some examples and some phrases, all right? So before we begin, let's break down the pronouns, right? So in the pronouns, there's a chunk that is singular and the other chunk is plural. So as you can see, the first person, second person, and third person plural, although there are 3, okay? Because they're still third person. And as I said, the usted, it really means you formally. So the difference between tú and usted is, tú is very informal. So you'd use the form tú usually when you're speaking to family members, close friends, people you do know. So if you want to get professional with it, when it comes to usted, people you don't know on the streets, even if they're young people, it'd be better to talk to them in the form of usted. For instance, like professors, you know, big people, you know, higher status people, okay? And that's pretty much it. And we're gonna move on to the plural form, right? So nosotros, this is we. So we have first person plural, second person plural, and third person plural. However, in Latin America, what we do is we take the ustedes, since we don't use vosotros in Latin America, we would place the ustedes over here. All right? So if you're talking to a chunk of people, whether they're big, high status people, whether it's formal, you use the ustedes. If you're using the usted to talk to like younger people, people you know, your family members, you'll still use the ustedes. In Spain, it will be vosotros for informal and ustedes for formal. But in Latin America, we just use the ustedes, all right? And ellos, ellas, that would be third person plural, okay? So to conjugate the verb cantar, which means to sing, right, in English, what you do, like in my previous video, I spoke about a stem, right? A verb stem, which is cant. So you'd put cant right here. So I'm just using it once so I don't keep writing it for every pronoun, right? So cant right here, and this would be the ending. For yo is o, tú is as, él, ella, usted is a, and nosotros is amos, vosotros ais, and those will be right? So let's conjugate cantar. That'll be yo canto, tú cantas, él canta, ella canta, usted canta, nosotros cantamos, vosotros cantáis, ellos cantan, ellas cantan, ustedes cantan, okay? So now we're gonna move to the verb aprender, which means to learn, right? So you'll do the same thing, right? The verb stem. The verb root is aprend without the ER. ER is the ending. And also sentir is the third verb, type of verb in Spanish, IR. The ending will be the same thing, okay? So let's conjugate verb aprender. So it would be yo aprendo, tú aprendes, él, ella, usted aprende, nosotros aprendemos, vosotros aprendéis, ellos, ellas, ustedes aprenden. All right, so now we're going to conjugate together the verb sentir, which means to feel in English, right? So those are the ending. It's the same ending as an ER verb, okay? So we'll just write it together. The only difference when you conjugating this verb is going to change in the I, to, and then the third person plural. So it would be siento, and the other one would be siente, So those are verbs that are changing. And in this form, tú, yo, and then ellos, ellas, there's gonna be an E here, okay? I think in school, if I remember correctly, they call this a shoe verb, right? Right here, so like a big shoe, boot, all right? So let's conjugate it now. Yo siento, tú sientes, él siente, nosotros sentemos, vosotros sentéis, ellos sienten, all right? So that's it for the verb sentir. So now we're gonna move into conjugations, okay? So the first conjugated sentence is nosotros vamos a cantar, which means we are going to sing, okay? And ellos van a aprender a hablar español. They are going to learn to speak Spanish. Yo quiero aprender inglés. So I want to learn English, all right? And this right here, vosotros estáis aquí. So that would be you, informally, you are here. But in Latin America, instead of saying this, we would go with ustedes están aquí. All right? Next one. Ustedes van a estar aquí. You are going to be here. All right? All right, that's it for the sentences, and we're going to move to the next verb. Now we're going to move to the verb estar, right? So, estar means to be in Spanish. There are two verbs to be, right? Well, I'll break them down in some other video, okay? So to conjugate estar, so we got rid of some other pronouns just to make it a little bit shorter, okay? And so we're pretty much gonna take the stem, which is est, we're gonna place it right here in front of every pronoun. And the ending for estar, it's kind of like right here, except the yo, there's a Y at the end. So it's not esto, it's estoy. That's why I said 99.9% of the time, the AR verbs are regular. But sometimes you might find a little bit changed, like for instance, estar, right? So it's yo estoy, tú estás, él está, nosotros estamos, ellos están. So it kind of follow the same pattern right here, except the estoy right here, the yo has a y at the end, okay? So that's it for this verb. So next verb is gonna be to go, ir, which means to go. And most of the time, ir will be used with a preposition. So to go to a place, all right? So we're gonna conjugate it. And this verb is really irregular. So this verb doesn't really follow the ending as a AR, ER, excuse me, or IR verb, okay? It has its own conjugation and is very irregular, okay? So there's no stem, as you can see. There's no verb stem, and there's barely any ending for that verb that you would see for another verb, okay? So it's gonna be yo voy, tú vas, él va, nosotros vamos, vosotros vais, y ellos van. So this is gonna end this portion of my lesson right here. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Please share, and I would really appreciate it. Thank you. See you next time.